Yes, I heard the news. Recently, the National Park Service updated the Underground Railroad page of its website and removed any references to Harriet Tubman. When asked about it, members of the Trump administration declared that this Harriet person needs to identify with how she was at birth, stating, "Is she a woman or is she a tough man? She gotta pick one. Merc." What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments.
Black America is sounding the alarm again. Harriet Tubman, one of the most iconic freedom fighters in our history, has been erased from the National Park Service's Underground Railroad webpage. Yeah, you heard that right. The woman who risked her life to lead enslaved people to freedom, gone from the very story she helped defy. And the community is not staying silent. From shock to rage, from heartbreak to organizing, black voices are rising up, calling this exactly what it is: another attempt to whitewash history, silence truth, and erase black legacy right in front of our eyes. In this video, we are diving deep into the reactions from across the diaspora, the pen, the power, the purpose, because when they try to bury our heroes, it's our job to resurrect them louder than ever. This isn't just about Harriet Tubman, this is about the future of our story. Stay tuned.
Every single person that had a hand in this man being in office, this is on you. Whether directly or indirectly, I don't give a damn what the percentage is. If you knew that you had a hand somehow, some way of this man being in office, this is on you. This is why black people holistically in this country are bowing out of all protests, don't want nothing to do with no freaking allyship or kumbayas. We are done with all of it. And this is why, because we saw this coming from a mile away, specifically black women. They saw it coming from a mile away. This is why we vote. This is why we vote. And this is why we try to vote for Kamala November 5th, to prevent ish like this from happening. And now look, they're trying to whitewash Harriet Tubman. If that is not the most white supremacist thing I've ever seen. A white Trump supporter, I mean, I'm not surprised that they would vote for this man and they would advocate for this, of course, because they're white and they're Trump supporters. They don't care about black people. They hate us. But if you're a person of color and you voted for that man or didn't vote for Kamala, why? Why are you okay with this? Why is this okay with you? Disrespecting Harriet Tubman like that is crazy work.
Harriet Tubman. Harriet fucking Tubman. Gone from the Underground Railroad. That's right. If you did not realize before now how much trouble we are in with losing a real American history, losing black history, losing our heroes, let alone the heroes whose names you've never heard before. Why aren't you donating? Why don't you do more than just buy books? Because no matter what, you don't know enough black history to save it and pass it on, all of it, to our children for the future. And so we have to get these primary source documents. We have to have them. We have to find ways to make them public, storing them outside of the country so that they are not susceptible to hacking attacks, because those will come. We are going to lose all history in the United States that has black people in it. All of it. Get on board and help save our future. You can donate to Saving Our Ancestors' Legacy through PayPal or my GoFundMe. Both links are in my link tree. You can join Action for Heritage, link in the link tree. We don't have time, and books aren't going to cut it.
Okay, so the National Park Service is trying to erase Harriet Tubman. Is part of one of the biggest problems we have right now is them trying to act like slavery didn't exist, that everything started as equal, there's no problems, and just they're doing it in plain sight right now, right in front of our faces. And the fact that we continue to try not to address it and erase it from websites and pages, it's just going to make things worse and make it worse and make it more of a problem. So clearly DEI is directed at black people. And it's just like, why would you even do that? Why would you even go for the website? How serious is that? Okay, people need to know the history. People need to know American history. That's why America has problems now, because we're just trying to act like it never happened. Okay? If you and your girlfriend went through a tumultuous time and you act like it never happened and you never address those issues, it's going to keep coming up and you just can't keep erasing it, right? Eventually it's going to bubble up to the top and there's going to be a race war. Or there's going to be people doing hate crimes for no reason. There's going to be people who think they deserve things for no reason, and there's going to be people not getting a fair shot for no reason because nobody wants to talk about history.
So y'all removed Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad page. Y'all removed Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad page. I'm sorry. Don't them two go hand in hand? That's like peanut butter and jelly. That's like motherfucking salt and pepper. There is no Underground Railroad reference without Harriet Tubman. This is what the original page looked like. What was the Underground Railroad? And under it said, I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad for 8 years. And I can say what most conductors can't say. I never ran my train off the track and I never lost passage. Harriet Tubman, 1896. This is what it looks like now. There is no mention of Harriet Tubman whatsoever. It says the U.S. Postal Service Underground Railroad. It talks about the stamp. It says the Underground Railroad flourished from the end of the 18th century to the Civil War, was one of the most significant expressions of American civil rights movement during the evolution of over more than 3 American? Where the fuck is African American? Black people, start educating your kids at home because they really are trying to erase the significance of our people. And I'm trying not to get frustrated. That's just pissed me off. That really just made me mad. That just made me mad. And I see a lot of shit that they're doing, but it's becoming like, for real? Like, that woman is instrumental in our freedom. That is one of the bravest women I have ever read about. And y'all just took her out like that. Y'all removed her like that. That just pissed me off. And I know I'm not supposed to be mad. And I know we're supposed to be resting, but it's still like, I don't want it to act like it doesn't hurt seeing that. I don't want it to act like it does not hurt seeing them try to erase our people and our culture from this country like we don't fucking exist.
What's up, you guys? I've been working behind the scenes on the project. Details to come. For now, your latest news update. Harriet Tubman removed from National Parks website. What's going on? Let's begin with this breaking news out of D.C., where a quiet but deeply troubling shift has been uncovered within a federal agency entrusted with telling our nation's stories. The National Park Service, a steward of American history and heritage, has removed key references to Harriet Tubman, the Underground Railroad, and the harsh realities of slavery from its website, a change that appears to align with a broader rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies under the Trump administration's ongoing campaign to, quote, reshape public discourse and federal narratives. The edits. Let's break down what's changed. Until recently, the National Park Service webpage on the Underground Railroad opened with a striking image and a quote from Harriet Tubman, the iconic abolitionist and freedom fighter who led dozens of enslaved people to liberty. But between late January and March, that content disappeared. Also removed were several references to enslaved people, replaced with vague or sanitized language. Mentions of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, a critical piece of legislation that allowed the capture and return of people escaping slavery, has also been deleted. These edits were first spotted by digital archivists comparing recent snapshots of the page to earlier versions. The changes were not publicly announced and no explanation was essentially given. Political context. The removals come amid a broader campaign by the Trump administration to eliminate or severely reduce diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs across the federal government. Since returning to power, the administration has taken steps to dismantle DEI offices, halt anti-racism training, and defund initiatives aimed at promoting equity in hiring, education, and public communications. Critics say the recent website edits are a clear extension of that agenda, this time targeting the nation's collective memory, the erasure of Harriet Tubman, and the other essential historical truths. Official resources is being interpreted not as oversight, but as intentional. Cultural historian Dr. Nadia Templeton stated, when you erase Harriet Tubman, you erase resistance. When you erase slavery, you deny the struggle. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about ideology. Public and expert reaction. Reactions have been swift and impassioned. The NAACP issued a scathing statement today, saying in part, these changes represent a dangerous form of historical revisionism. The truth of America's past, including its brutal legacy of slavery, must never be hidden to suit political agendas. Educators, historians, and museum professionals have echoed these concerns. A coalition of more than 30 university history departments signed an open letter demanding the immediate restoration of the original webpage content, calling the edits a betrayal of public trust. Online outrage has spread across social media platforms where users are sharing screenshots of the original webpage using a hashtag like Save Tubman and Stop Erasing History, and the latest, the blackout. Digital activists have begun archiving federal web pages in real time, fearing more quiet rollbacks of inclusive historical narratives. Government and agency response. In response to mounting criticism, the National Park Service released a short statement later this afternoon. The website is being updated as a part of standard content review. We remain committed to accurately telling the story of the Underground Railroad. However, the ACNG offered no timeline for when or if Harriet Tubman's content will return. And White House Press Secretary dodged direct questions, saying only, the president believes in telling American stories that unite us. We support the Park Service in managing their own communications. For many, that non-answer speaks volumes. The stakes. This moment is about more than a single webpage. It's about whose stories get told, whose lives are remembered, and whose suffering is acknowledged. Harriet Tubman is not just a historical figure. She is a symbol of courage, justice, and unrelenting hope in the face of unspeakable brutality. The Underground Railroad wasn't just a metaphor, it was a lifeline for thousands seeking freedom. Stripping away these narratives from public education sites doesn't erase the past, it distorts it, and with it, the foundation of our shared understanding. As Dr. Templeton stated, this is about truth, and the truth isn't always comfortable, but it is necessary. What's next? Advocacy groups and lawmakers are demanding accountability. Congressional Democrats are calling for hearings, and multiple civil rights organizations are preparing to file Freedom of Information Act requests to uncover who authorized the changes and why. Meanwhile, educators across the country are organizing virtual teach-ins and curriculum sharing sessions to ensure students continue to learn the full, unvarnished truth about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, with or without government support. This story is developing, and I will be following every update. For now, one thing is clear: the way we remember history shapes the way we understand justice, identity, and freedom. And that's a conversation that must never be erased. Thank you. That was your latest news update.
So let's talk about what just happened and why it's a damn shame. The National Park Service updated their Underground Railroad page, and one of the most glaring, shocking changes is this. There is no mention of Harriet Tubman, no reference, no quote, no acknowledgement of her existence. On the Underground Railroad page, this isn't a small oversight. This isn't about rearranging for the future. This is about burning down the house and rebuilding it without a foundation. For those unfamiliar, Harriet Tubman was the Underground Railroad. She wasn't just a participant. She was the most famous conductor, the North Star in the dark. She led dozens of enslaved people to freedom over the course of 8 years, without ever losing a single passenger. That is not just bravery, that is black excellency embodied. That is strategy, sacrifice, and survival against a system designed to crush her. And still she won. So, to erase her from the page is to erase the soul of the story. Let's be very clear. This isn't just a mistake, it's a message. When you erase Harriet Tubman from American history, you are sending a signal. You are saying that the truth of America's foundation, the ugly truth, the enslaving truth, the revolutionary truth doesn't matter. You are sanitizing the past to make it more palatable for people who were never harmed by it and who are uncomfortable confronting it. And we know exactly when this started happening. We have seen the rise of school boards banning books on black history. We have seen states strikes out the worst systemic racism from diversity programs. We have watched the programs get gutted and replaced with the watered down corporate buzzword. And now they are coming for Harriet Tubman. And we're supposed to just take that? Let me say this slowly for those in the back. The attempt to remove Harriet Tubman from the narrative is a continuation of what has always been done, controlling the narrative so that black liberation sounds like an antidote, not an act of revolution. They want to make the Underground Railroad sound like a spontaneous movement, not a coordinated network of black people who assaulted a nation that enslaved them. They want the face of freedom to be boring, non-specific, forgettable. And that is exactly why we have to resist, not with hashtag, but with consistent action, education, and exposure. Because they are not just erasing Harriet Tubman, they are erasing the thousands of others who ran, hid, spotted, and fought for freedom. They are erasing the coded songs, the secret symbols in quiet, the black churches that served as station. They are erasing the very intellect and innovation of our ancestors. And don't get it twisted, it hasn't just about Harris, it's about the trend. What we are witnessing is a full-on cultural scrub. They are trying to whitewash black history out of American history so that they can reframe this country as something it was never. Fair, equal, and just from the beginning. That is historically visionary at its most dangerous. And if you think this isn't political, you are not paying attention. Because every time black floors stand up and demand justice, demand recognition, demand truth, there is pushback. And this erasure is pushback, and sadly it's working. Look at the language they are using now, American civil rights movement, as if this was a grassroots movement of moral awakening, not a bloody, violent struggle to force the country to live up to its own constitution. They didn't even say African American, they didn't say black, and that is not an accident, that is strategic. That is why this hits differently, because it's not just about Harriet Tubman disappearing from a web page. It's about what that symbolizes. It's about a black children coming to this site for school, for research, for identity, and finding nothing, no trace of her name, no validation of their lineage, no pride in their people's resistance. And now let's address the political layer, because a lot of people contributed to where we are right now. The people who voted for politicians who made it clear from the jump that they were against TEL. The flogs who sat out elections because both sides are the same. The ones who didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because they had personal issues with her record. Fine, vowed criticism. But now we are watching the course of disengagement. And this is exactly what black women are warning us about. They saw this coming. They have been the backbone of every major civil rights movement in this country, and they are always the first to raise the alarm and the last to be heard. But here we are, and now finally some flocks are paying attention. And let's talk about what comes next, because this isn't just about being mad online, it's about action. Are you donating to Black-led Archive or historical preservation organization? Are you challenging school boards in your area? Are you actually teaching your kids black history at home? Not just during February, but year around. Because at this point, if you are not actively preserving it, you are letting them delete it. We need to own our narrative like our future depends on it. Because the erasure of Harriet Tubman isn't just disrespectful, it's a warning. They are coming for the truth, and they will do it on one page at a time, one class at a time, one generation at a time. So don't just repost, don't just comment, don't just share the outrage. Be preservation, be resistance, be the damn Underground Railroad. Because if we don't tell our stories, they will erase them. If this video spoke to you, don't scroll past it. Like, share, and subscribe so this message gets amplified. Drop your thoughts in the comments. How are you feeling about this Harriet Tubman erasure? And what are you doing to protect our history? This isn't a moment, it's a movement. Stay loud, stay educated, stay ready. We are not done talking, not by a long shot.